Sexton with the second of my videos showing you a different aspect of the church. Today, the boiler room. Now, this is the boiler room. Several weeks ago it gave us some serious trouble because the boiler broke down and we of course were without heat. So of course I've now had to go up and down the steps into the boiler more times than I care to count in order to try and sort this out. The boiler room dates back to the late 19th century when it was part of the reconstruction of the church by the architect John Aldred Scott, and it forms the foundations for the vestry in this particular part of the building. Now you can see it's got a cover above the boiler room. The purpose of that, we've tried a lower cover, but the purpose of this high one fitted to the railings is to give through ventilation, because part of the problem was condensation in the boiler room making the pump seize up. And then the coal chute, which is here, has got its own cover, and again it has a grill to allow air in. There's also a mysterious hose there, more about that in a minute. So if you come with me, I'll take you on a trip down into the boiler room. First of all, I have to lift this hatch, so excuse me a second, it's quite heavy. There we are. The hatch is lifted. There we have the original grating, and it's normally locked for security and safety. So push that back without falling down. And here are the steps, the original 19th century steps. I think for many of you, you wouldn't really care to have to come down here. It's not particularly safe. This is what the boiler room originally looked like. As you can see, fairly nasty looking brickwork. I've had to do mortar repairs, a bit crude, but the idea of those is to stop water coming in around the top where there were some leaks. So you step backwards, and there are the steps, and they're well above the ground, so if it floods you can still stand at the bottom and admire the lake of water. A couple of weeks ago it was very wet in here, and so that's another issue we've had to deal with. This is the coal hatch, and you can see the walls have all been coated. They've all been coated in something called tanking slurry, 2 coats, and that is to seal the water back. It actually does the job of preventing water coming in by forming crystals in the mortar and the brickwork. This shiny pipe has been fitted by Sullivan George, the electrician, and the purpose of this is to bring pressure in to this pump, which looks very big, but actually it uses very little electricity and it's quiet. So of course our treasurer, Christopher Hume, is very grateful for that. Doesn't mean we're spending a lot of money running it. And this ducting comes round and it blows air out of here onto the boiler, and the boiler was the cause of all the trouble. The red pump down here has all the electrics and the mechanical stuff, and several weeks ago the floor was flooded right up to this height, so it nearly destroyed the rest of the pump. As it was, we were able to get a repair done. You can see there's all the associated pipe work, and this is from the original presumably 19th century form of central heating. There's some very old boilers and pipework in the church, but they have been modified and connected to this oil-fired boiler, and this is timed to come on at certain times. The ceiling is still pretty grim, but we don't look up, except here, just to show you what it's like. You'll see there's a strip light, and that's a sealed water-resistant strip light which Sullivan's fitted, which is good, and that gives us a lot more illumination. And then the last thing we've done is to install a pump. This is called a puddle pump, and it's connected to that black pipe that you saw outside. And while we're here, you can see the original light switch, but there's also this wireless pad switch that operates the fluorescent light, which is neat. And then when we look down, the floor has got various problems. It's got various breaks in it, which I've had to seal with mortar. And you can see a section of old tiled floor, and then the drain. Now this drain is the thing that interests me most in a way. It's a sump and then a drain pipe running out to the outside. But when the cellar's flooded, it does appear as if the water actually comes up through the drain and not down through the drain. And so to overcome that, I've jammed a lot of foam rubber down the drain pipe. And we'll see what happens when it rains heavily next. So I'm actually hoping for heavy rain just to test out my theory. So there we are, there's the boiler room looking a lot better than it did. It once had a coke boiler, and that would have been around here somewhere. And our captain of bells, Julian Avis, remembers helping his father loading the coke into the boiler that would have come down the chute. And here are some old pieces of stained glass window from one of the western end windows in the church. So there we are, there's your guided tour of the church boiler room. Absolutely essential for keeping us warm and keeping the building in good condition. Now the echo goes because I can come up into the open air, and that's the end of this video from your sexton. I hope you've enjoyed it. Goodbye.